listening to The Sizzle on Iron Skillet Radio and Iron Skillet Television.
You know who it is. You know what it is. It's The Sizzle in the building. Jay, how are you feeling after a Bears win? Happy Bagent Day.
Happy Baguette Day. I think I need me some French dip. I think about, I never really dip my baguettes, but I might dip my baguette today because, baguette.
You're a baguette dipping kind of guy.
I am that type of guy.
Listen, Jay, today marks in history the 49th QB that started in Bears history. And his name is TYSON BAGENT. He's a man, he's a myth, he's a legend. But he only threw for 160.
Doesn't matter his consistency. He was 100% in the red zone. 100% in the red zone. 100% down there in the red zone goal to go. He was, I want to say they were nearly 67% or 70% or something like that in third down conversions, all right? These are the numbers that matter. People want to gloss over these 100 and 250-yard days, 300-yard days in a loss, right? A lot of that yardage is picked up in garbage time, right? A lot of that yardage. But these were methodical yards. He never put the ball in a bad position. He was putting the ball where the defense was letting the ball go to. And guess what they have to do with this guy? It's honor the bootleg. Why? Because he can hurt you. He was a weapon out there today. Was he fully weaponized? No. Was this the same offense they've been trying to run? Yes. What was the difference? There wasn't a number 1 back there. There was a number 17.
Well, if you look at his numbers, he was 21 of 29 for 162 yards. And add into that 24 yards in rushing.
How many TDs?
He had 1 tutty.
How many TDs were scored?
There were 3 touchdowns scored. And let me give shout out and big shout out to my man, D'Onta Foreman. D'Onta Foreman rushed for 89 yards, 31 yards, receiving for a total of 120 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, and so you looked at a ball club that won the time of possession, I want to say almost by 10 minutes, and you saw a team who was rallying to the football from the defensive side. All of a sudden, you've seen a team who's been playing really well, stopping the run, but now they have motivation because if they figured out this guy could keep the ball in the hands of his side of the team. Here's the whole issue, right, with a guy like this. Everybody's talking about, well, he didn't push the ball downfield. So you want him to throw in the coverage. That's what we want to do. Or do we want to take these dinks and dunks for these 3 yards, 5 yards, and give us what we want is 3rd and 1s and 3rd and 2s. That's why the conversion rate was so high on those. He put us in position. We weren't behind the sticks. We were ahead of the sticks. And that's the biggest thing right now, right? Now you can let your running back. How much rushing did we have today?
Well, if you put it all together, you had a total of 323 yards. That was combined total offense. You had 173 yards on the ground.
When's the last time you saw the Bear rush for 170 yards?
I think Justin Fields did.
Yeah, and then where does that get you? Your shoes in Canton, but now what? Here's the thing about that, too.
Okay.
Just, 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, everybody's talking about he's back. Oh, he's the greatest thing since Chop Suey.
He's back.
He's back. All of a sudden now.
Kung Fu Suey.
Now, what are they saying? See, football people understand what's going on with the Bears. That consistency is far more important than explosion, right? It's just like when you cook your food. If your grill is too hot, you're going to burn your food up. It's good to sear it, but if you leave it over that hot flame, it's going to burn itself up. Most people like to cook their food who actually know how to cook on the grill. They sear it and then they toss it over the side off the heat and just let the constant heat hit it. When you have consistency in your game, consistency takes 2, 3, 4 yards on first down. When you're consistently running those boots where they have to honor it, all of a sudden now you have a team like the Raiders who have one of the best pass rushers in the NFL who didn't really make a difference in this ball game. And that's because this guy was not on the same square all the time. He was not from the same launching point. And the most important thing, he got the ball out of his hands. He had one of the most quick releases that we've seen with the Chicago Bears. And we know Justin Fields is a guy who will hold the ball for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 seconds.
Well, here's the thing. You talked about it on our last podcast. We talked about the fact that Larry Borum, for some reason, because we're talking about one of the best pass rushers who got 1 sack for today's game, but he would have had none had Borum not done the Borum thing.
Well, also, too, you got to remember, they were helping Chip a little bit on him.
They were.
So they were putting him back on the Borum. Borum's biggest problem, I think, is that when he sets in his drop, that left foot drags instead of getting up off the ground. And because it drags, it trips him up, and he tends to fall over. I think, but once he can get set in front of you and get his arms locked, now he's in a much better position. They just got to chip and help him a little bit. You got to get a back flaring out of there, chip and help him, push the defender back on him so he doesn't get those big outside rushes on you, and then he looks fine. The biggest problem is getting that left foot set. I think he slides that foot, and when you get on different surfaces, it all depends what the practice surface is and what the field surface is. I guarantee you they're not practicing on the same surface. To me, as an offensive lineman, I want to practice on the same surface that I'm going to play on. And I think that's part of the problem right here is that he's being able to slide that foot in the grass, in their practice grass. Why do they have him on practice grass? They don't want to tear their knees up. So they're on a softer surface. Grass gives away. They make sure that happens. He gets out there on that field up there. What happens? He goes to slide, grabs that foot. That's what I saw the last couple of times with him, and it stops his momentum, and he falls over, and he falls down and go boom.
Well, a lot of players weren't falling over and going boom. And shout out to Mercedes Lewis. The old man did his thing, getting his first reception of the year, Jay. Looking like a veteran sage that he was.
Well, the issue is on that is that you have a quarterback who can read to his third read, who understands where the ball's supposed to go. He's in a high efficiency, high completion quarterback. He knows where it goes. There's not a defense, he says, that he hasn't seen, that he doesn't understand. And we saw today, guess what? We didn't see him today, confused. We saw him a lot of times checking, making the right checks. You saw the defense, you saw the offensive line very seldom blow an assignment today. Why did you see that? Because I think this quarterback had time to work with him. They understood what they can do, what they can't do, and they had confidence in him that he was going to make the right call and get the ball out of his hand. And I think that's the biggest thing about this today. They knew the ball was going to come out on time.
Well, that's the thing. One of the things we talked about earlier is we talked about time and possession. The Bears had the ball almost 35 minutes versus 24 for the Las Vegas Raiders. And also the red zone efficiency of 100%. And they had 23 first downs. But, Jay, let's talk about something else. It's been nearly 400 days since the Bears have gotten a home win.
Yeah.
And you have to attribute a lot of this win to a defense that held the Raiders to 129 total yards with 3 takeaways. This defense stepped up, Jay, and did their part. In your estimation, has this defense gotten better since Eberflus has taken over, or was this just a natural progression that the defense was going to take as the year progressed?
See, it all depends when you're playing defense. Are you playing from behind or are you playing in front? Because there's 2 different type of defenses now. When you're playing from behind, you're going to take more chances to go after the football. You're going to blitz a little bit more because you're trying to make things happen. I think you saw a defense today that wasn't over blitzing because they didn't need to. I mean, you were going against Brian Hoyer too. Let's get that understandable too. Second thing was that because the defense was able to play contained, basically, they pretty much figured Hoyer wasn't going to be able to beat him deep, even though we saw Devontae Adams drop one in the end zone, and we saw him make some good plays out there, was that they were able to come up and rally to the football. Also, they were playing with a lead. And so now it's not as much pressure if you let somebody get into the end zone on you. It's not do or die all the time. After we've seen with the Bear has always been in a situation where it's been do or die, and this defense has played better because its linebacker play has been better. I think they've changed their schemes up a little bit, and they're not as porous as they were before. You see their defensive tackles. You don't hear their names called all day, but you don't see the ball being running up their gut. So that just means they're stopping that A and B gap. And if you're going to beat them, you're going to have to get them outside. And now you had these big flowing linebackers who will run sideline to sideline, and we do have corners that will come up and stick you. Now, we know some of this tackle has been atrocious, but tackle has been atrocious all around the league with these safeties because they just can't practice tackling anymore. So, our biggest problem with the Bears is one-on-one against a really good running back like the Raiders have, and then you saw them come up and blow a couple of tackles that they had him for sure losses, and he was just kept running down the field. So I think it's just a defense. It's a bend-don't-break type of defense. They're going to take one thing away from you, and that's the run. They can take the run away from you and make you a one-dimensional football team. Now you're looking at you're going to have to beat us downfield, and we just don't know if you're going to be able to catch us. And that's the thing you saw with the Bears today, was that they had a lead. And it doesn't matter in the NFL by how much you win by. It's just you're 1 point ahead. And that's the most important thing.
Here's the thing, Jay. They've got a big test next week coming up against the Chargers. You've had a game where Khalil Mack went off, I think, for 6 sacks in a game. Can TYSON BAGENT and the Bears keep this up going into his third playing game, but his second start of the season?
Yeah, it's the same thing he's been doing. This is nothing new. Same thing he did out of college, the same boot actions he did out of college, climbing the pocket. Nothing is new for this guy. This guy has been playing football like this forever. And he understands where the ball is supposed to go. That's obvious. Today in his second start, he looked like an NFL quarterback. In his first series, he looked like an NFL quarterback. He was throwing balls downfield where we had not seen Justin Fields put the ball. He's not holding on to the football, which makes other defenses very upset because they don't have time to get to him. He has a strong enough arm. We heard today in the interview, he says he has a hand cannon. I can get the ball there, right? If you leave it open, I'm going to put the ball on him. How do we know he's going to put the ball on him? Because he has 153 touchdowns coming out of college. That tells you that he knows how to put the ball on people. I don't care if you're playing Nerf football, flag football. If you got 153 tutties, that means you're doing something, right? This guy can play football. He's big enough. He's strong enough. He's got a gun. Looks like he's pretty much unflappable. We'll see how it goes along as the other teams adjust to him. But the issue today is right now that you saw a team that was excited about their quarterback, that they knew this quarterback was going to have an opportunity to help them win a football game. And you saw the Bear put 30 on today? When's the last time you see the Bear drop 30 like that? Where you really didn't think that he was going to make a huge mistake. You really didn't think that he was going to put the ball in harm's way, which he didn't. So, I mean, it's just a opportunity now for the Bears to decide what they want to do, quarterbacking wise. I said it many times before, and I say it again with Justin Fields, that he just will not get rid of the football fast enough. I just don't think he's processing the game fast enough. I think he's a superior athlete. But a lot of times football is won with football acumen from the shoulders up. And I just don't think Justin reads the game like this guy reads the game.
Well, that's the question right now. Does he read the game the way he's supposed to? Is it going to happen? So let me ask this before you get ready to get out of here, because we're going to wrap this up. What happens when Justin Fields is ready? Does he return as the QB for the Bears?
I think yes. I think they're going to put him back out there again. But will he stay the QB for the Bears? That's the question. Are they going to pay him this big money? I don't think so. The issue is right now is that you have a team who very possibly, I'll say they come back next week and they win next week and they have a good outing, right? And then you get Justin Fields coming out and let's do more Justin Fields things. We've seen who Justin Fields is. Justin Fields is not going to change. Right. Well, what makes us think, even though he had those big outbursts, right? Was that the real Justin Fields, or is it I'm going to hold the ball forever Justin Fields?
That's the question. Which Justin Fields is Justin Fields? And at this point, I think we're learning who he is.
No, I don't. I think we already know who he is. He's a guy with great talent, right? Great arm strength, but he does not read defenses well. And you cannot be a consistent winner in the NFL where you're putting ball in harm's way. When you're holding the ball, trying to push the ball downfield, hero ball gets you killed in the NFL, right? That 6 seconds of him holding the football, that got him hurt. And we've seen this situation going on before. Now you see Bagent, who has run when he needed to run, but he runs in a way that you go, okay, he's under control. He knows where the sidelines are. He knows where he's going to get out. If he needs to slide, he just understands the game. And I think that's the important thing right here. And I think you also looking at a kid who's very confident, who understands what needs to be done, and he has a next play mentality. And I think that's important. So is Tyson Bagent the answer? I think he's a better answer right now than what we have at quarterback. I just believe that. I don't think we're going to win the championship with Justin Fields in a Chicago Bears uniform. Does he go somewhere else and maybe does better? Maybe they put a better offensive line around him? Yeah, but today Tyson Bagent did the same thing with the same offensive line. Maybe they were just scrambled around, but he still had Larry Borum playing left tackle for him. But what happens, I get the ball out fast, that guy don't have to block for 3 seconds. That makes a huge difference. And he has escapability, which we don't see that out of Justin Fields, him climbing the pocket and getting out of there like that, because he holds the ball too long.
Well, that's true. You have a situation where Justin holds on to the ball a little bit too long, a tad bit too long, and then you have boom, disaster. So for those who don't know, the Bears now are 2-5 and the Raiders are 3-4 with a 30-12 victory today. And next week we're looking for another victory. You know who's in the building. He's Jay Sizzle.
Yes, sir.
I'm G Sizzle. This is the Sizzle, and we will see you on the other side.